I know I'm human. If you were all these things, then you just attack me right now. So some of you are still human. This thing doesn't want to show itself. It wants to hide inside an imitation. It'll fight if it has to. But it's vulnerable out in the open. If it takes us over, then it has no more enemies. Nobody left to kill it. And then it's won.
You son of a bitch, you moved the cemetery, but you left the bodies, didn't you? You son of a bitch, you left the bodies and you only moved the headstones! You only moved the headstones! Why? Why?
For a girl like you to come into my life, I've been waiting for a girl like you, the love that will survive. I've been waiting for someone new to make me feel alive. Yeah, waiting for a girl like you to come into my life.
You bitch! You called me a bitch!
What's in the basket?
Open season!
How do we know she is alive?
Say, please stop it. There's no more time. You've got to. Please stop it. Stop it now. Turn it off. Turn it off. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop
Where's my baby? Where's my baby?
I'm sorry, Mrs. Slater.
No. No!
right, hi everybody. We're here for a special 1982 video. We have a guest here, Carly Sonafelt, actress and podcaster, Slumber Party Massacre. How's it going, Carly?
All right. How are you?
I'm good. And we're here to discuss the 1982 classic slasher film, House on Sorority Row. Now, the year is a little up for debate. I'll get into that a little bit. So I guess we'll just get into the brief description of the film, and then we can talk about our initial experiences and whatnot. So I guess brief description is 7 sorority sisters plan on throwing a kind of college graduation party at their sorority house because their original plans fall through. The house mother is not happy with it, and she retaliates in anger, and they play a prank on her that a couple of them are aware of, and it basically is an untimely death, so they think. The body disappears, and certainly so do some of the sorority sisters start to disappear as well. And that's kind of a House on Sorority Row plot. It opens up with kind of a black and white little old kind of thing to give some backstory and everything like that. So yeah, this is kind of one of the more popular slashers, I would say, that's kind of stood the test of time and got a remake in the early 2000s. So yeah, what are your initial thoughts of the movie, and do you have any history with the film?
I don't remember the first time I watched it, honestly. I told you I've seen the remake when that came out several times, and I didn't even know it was a remake because that one's just called Sorority Row. And then, yeah, I don't remember the first time I even watched this. So it's kind of weird, but I've seen it multiple times at this point. And we covered on Slumber Party Massacre too, I believe. So there's that. But you know, I think it's fun. It's not one that I think yay, I'm gonna pop that on and watch it tonight. But I feel like I've watched it for several shows at this point, and it's decent. It's a better one.
Yeah, I kind of in the same boat with you. It's a movie that I feel like I've just seen forever. You know, I saw it. I don't remember if I saw it initially on VHS. I know I had a VHS back in the day. I feel like I probably did at some point, but I definitely remember watching the Scorpion DVD when it was initially released, probably almost 15, 20 years ago. Then they put it out on Blu-ray, and I was familiar with it. And then MVD Rewind put a re-release out on it on Blu-ray. So the movie's had several releases out there. And it's always gained kind of a cult appreciation for, whatnot. Now, I guess we'll talk a little bit about the brief production of the film. So in 1981, the director, Mark Rosman, was just a kind of a film kind of guy. He had worked with Brian De Palma on home movies, which is kind of a weird, almost like experimental film by Brian De Palma. I think the DP also worked on that of House on Sorority Row. So he kind of got his toes wet a little bit. Mark Rosman is one of the classic kind of directors that kind of just was pushed into horror films, making this a horror film. He's more of a thriller guy, never really interested in horror films. So he planned on making this low budget movie for about $300,000 in Washington, D.C. At first, the plans fell through. They ended up making it in Baltimore, Maryland, among that kind of area. That's why the band 4 Out of 5 Doctors is a local Washington, D.C. band. Some of the casting, I think, originally was probably done. Some of the actresses come from Washington, D.C., some New York, all that kind of thing like that. So they ended up pulling this together on a low budget. Their money falls through at one point. They go broke, and they have to kind of talk to get more money and everything like that. And eventually, Film Ventures basically floats the cost at the end to do the score and all that kind of stuff. And Film Ventures was kind of a very shady, kind of bizarre film company that released a lot of horror films that are pretty popular and had kind of a, memorable bankruptcy involving the producer. So I guess you want to talk about the crew first. Like I said, we kind of talked about Mark Rosman. Do you know anything about the director? How do you feel like the direction in the film is, actually?
I mean, I don't even who is what did the director direct?
The only other horror movie or horror-oriented horror movie he did was Evolver, which is a 90s kind of technology horror thing, which is pretty fun. But as far as his other stuff, I don't think it would interest us very much. Disney, kids movies, stuff like that, right?
Oh, that's weird. Yeah. I mean, I think the movie shot fine. I mean, you and I watched this together. It's kind of funny, watching it at home. I only have a shitty DVD copy of it, and that was the first. I never really care about transfers too much like other people, but I was like, yeah, this looks like crap compared to what you and I watched it on. So that was
I had the Scorpion 4K. it has a 5.1 mix, and the MVD only has a 2.1 mix. And I mean, like, I'm sitting there talking about mixes and everything like that. But like the director, you know, I think he was he had the background of the Homa movies, and he was obviously interested in film and all that kind of stuff, and made this on a low budget. The actresses have nothing but nice things to say about the guy. He was very calm, and he had a different ending and all that kind of stuff, and fought with Film Ventures on the promotion of the film and the alternate ending and all sorts of stuff like that. So I do want to talk about Film Ventures, which was ran by a guy named Ed Montaro. Who it's really weird because the movies they did produce would be stuff like Mortuary, which came out this year, which is a decent film. Grizzly, the William Girdler movie, a couple of those, and a slew of others like Time Walker. He had his hands in that, which was also released in '82. But in I think 1984, kind of shortly after this, Ed Montaro, he had a fall through with, I think, Great White, which I think was the one that got sued by Universal. And so he took like $1 million. He stole $1 million from the company and just disappeared off the face of the earth. And no one ever knows what happened to the guy. Some people think he was murdered. Some people think he ended up in Mexico. But there's just kind of like I guess, you know, this weird surrounding thing following this guy, Ed Montaro. But it's just one of those kind of classic low budget studio things, you know what I mean? But I think it's more interesting sometimes than the actual like filming of this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's hilarious. I mean, not hilarious. I mean, if he got murdered, that's not hilarious, but it's there. I mean, he stole $1 million. That's a lot.
Well, Rosman said that he never actually, the investors never received any of their money, or anything like that. They never got their money back, even though the movie was shot for $300,000 and it probably made close to at least I've seen estimates $3 to $8 million, all sorts of stuff like that. So like he was obviously taking money and whatnot, maybe owed people money, all that kind of stuff like that. But so there's a really funny story before we get into like the actual movie itself and talk about it. Is so like they were obviously bought this movie and they did the campaign and stuff. And the directors talk about this in interviews and stuff at commentaries. And they pulled them in. They were excited for the campaign ads. And this movie has more taglines than you could shake a stick at. The working title was Seven Sisters, which is a good title, although it sounds like it could be the 1970s drama, right?
Yeah.
It's like, who directed this? Robert Altman? Right? And then the UK title, listening to the Hysteria Continues podcast, they point out that it was called House of Evil, which makes sense because there's no such thing as sorority, right, in UK.
I know. I didn't know that.
Like the same, like think about like the sleepaway camp and like Burning and Friday the 13th. Like UK really doesn't have those kind of things, so they're like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is these weird kids at a camp, right?
Yeah, I guess so. House of Evil that's very generic though too.
Super like that would generic. Like I would think it's a crappy TV possession movie.
Yeah.
From 1977.
Yes.
And I probably wouldn't.
70s.
Yeah, for sure. So the taglines. Let me know which tagline you like best on here. All right.
All right.
And I'll tell you which one he was very unhappy with, or you can guess which one. When the nightmare ends, the terror begins. Medium. What do you think?
That's pretty like what? That doesn't even like make one. Okay. That's
7 graduates, sorority sisters, stalked as they hold a guilty secret.
That's just the plot of the movie.
Yeah, but it's a tagline. It's different.
It's sorry.
This one I like. Sisters in life, sisters in death.
That's decent. It's to the point. So yeah.
Pledge, Felta, Pie, and Die.
That's okay.
This one's funny. Welcome to the sorority of your nightmares.
I could have wrote that.
One accident led to the unimaginable.
That could be anything.
That sounds more like those teen like books. Remember those teen little like preteen slasher books that used to like sell that were like Christopher Pike books. That's what they
Fear Street novel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing can prepare you for what happens when she fights back.
That one's good, I think. Yeah.
That's the one he hated because it sounds like a rape revenge movie. And he was just like, what is this? And the cover has, the like scantily clad woman who's not even in the movie.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, that'd be
Here
good
comes-
in another movie.
For sure. That sounds like something like definitely a 70s exploitation movie.
Yeah, when you're picturing like an old woman like Mrs. Slater, yeah, that doesn't really go well with that.
Where nothing is off limits.
You're still going?
Welcome home to the sorority of your nightmares. And then sorority sisters, sisters in life, and sisters in death. There we go. So that's Montaro for you.
What's the actual tagline for the movie?
Those are all taglines.
Oh, so that's like
different locations and stuff
they
like that.
went with all. Okay, I thought that was like option. I didn't. Oh, that's
No, those were all
crazy.
taglines that are listed on Internet Movie Database, and the one that he actually couldn't stand was "Nothing can prepare you for what happens when she fights back," which
Right.
sounds like Death Weekend or something along those lines.
That's crazy.
The composer here is Richard Band,
Mm.
Charlie Band's brother, and the score in here is actually really good. What'd you think of the score?
At first it starts out kind of weird, like I don't know, melodramatic or something like that, very TV movie-esque, and then like as the movie goes on, I feel like it picks up and gets a lot better. So it's kind of weird. It's a weird score. Feels kind of all over the place, but I think it's good. I mean, but it just yeah.
It's
it
a
just
film
takes a while to get going.
for sure. Like the one thing is like when I think like Richard Band, right? You always think Richard Band, you think Full Moon. So you think like Reanimator and Puppet Master and those kind of like not bad scores. They're great scores. But like when you get later day Full Moon, they have like a weird quality that almost thinks like Full Moon only. Like these are this is an orchestral score they actually made in London with the Philharmonic Orchestra, which blows my mind. Like there's an interview with Richard Band and he talks about that and I was like, holy shit. He talks about his whole history of like making films and all this stuff. And it's hard to remember that Richard Band has been doing this just as long as Charlie Band's been like producing and making movies and everything like that. The same year,
Right.
Richard Band also did the score for Time Walker, which I do not remember. And I just watched that movie, which is not a great film. And he did the score for Parasite, which is also not a great film. This is by far the best of the three that he did the score for this year.
I've never seen either of those movies.
Well, Debbie Moore is in Parasite. That's kind of like the call to fame. And Time Walker it was a first time watch for me this year, and it's just about space mummy.
I knew it was going to be a space movie.
You
I
love
was like,
space
that just
movies.
sounds really boring to me.
And, well, it's not only a space movie; it's a mummy movie too. So you're like,
Yeah, mommy. Yeah,
and it's on a college campus, and it was originally supposed to be like a precursor for a TV series that never took off. So like,
of course.
man, if that was a knife, you would never cut through anything with it. So, out of the characters and the cast, do you have any favorites?
I think the main girl's good, even though you did point out she looks like Kevin Bacon, and now I can't unsee that. I like her, and then I like the one girl that was like didn't look like she fit in with everyone else. She was more like grungy looking, where everyone else was like more girly. Like it was like the wavy, dark hair.
Diane with the green shirt, I think she's in there. She actually gets killed in the van, right?
I think yes.
I thought her reactions were probably the best. I mean, you have the seven sisters who are main characters, even though Stevie dies right away in the pool house. So she's like not that big of a character.
Yeah.
And then you have Dr. Beck, who is an actor who really didn't do anything. This is his only credited. And Miss Slater, who is a theater actor, who was dubbed over later, like post-dubbing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so, and then we noticed that right away rewatching, and she was completely ADR. Like, that's not her actual voice.
Right. Like, yeah. And then watching it again on the DVD, I was like, because I didn't know if that was like a mess up on your Blu-ray or whatever, and I was like, yeah, it still looks like you could still tell it's like voicing over that, which I never noticed. But what was I gonna say? I do like the Vicky character too. She actually reminds me a lot of what's her name? Chris and in the movie Carrie, like that character.
Oh yeah,
It actually reminds me a lot of that same character who's just like crazily hell-bent on revenge. Although in this movie it makes a little more sense because I mean she breaks her waterbed. So like, which I think is like, that's a mess. Like you can't just like cut someone's waterbed open. Like I'm sure that was expensive.
Oh yeah.
And I think like she's
and Carrie is very similar. You're right.
Yeah. So yeah,
I think you're right. Yeah, but she's definitely like insane with revenge, and she even has like the little like toady with her. Which character? I can't think of her name. Liz. She's like the second in charge kind of girl. I do think that the main girl, Catherine, stands out, played by Kate McNeil, who is in Monkey Shines as well and a bunch of TV stuff. She's good. Vicky's good, who is another like kind of big like TV actress after this. And we looked her up, and she looks just the same. Like she didn't age at all. We have Jeannie, who's the kind of like mousy one, who's in like overdressed, kind of the Lin Shaye. She went on to be like a writer. She has probably the best, most memorable death with the head in the toilet, which is a really good effect. The best effect in the film, I think. And then we have Morgan, who has the infamous line in the film, right?
Yeah, I looked her up. She was in one other movie. I was like, let's see how far this girl's career went. Like,
her line is so ridiculous. How do we know she is alive? And it's just like she's blinking and all sorts of things like that.
I just picture the rest of the cast, like, because everyone else is pretty decent. Like, I just picture them all like pausing, like, this girl, this, like, what are you doing?
I think that scene is like one of the scenes that makes the movie completely live on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, then also, like, I'm thinking we also had Vicky, others like Morgan, Liz, Stevie. I think that we have a decent cast here. I think the house mother, Slater, is good. She's not great, but she's solid. She reminds me of the mom.
Good look to her. She has a good look to her, like, menacing.
Sure. And then the doctor, I think, is kind of he's not great. I think he's probably one of the weakest links in the film.
Yeah. Very one note.
Yeah. And the year before we had like Happy Birthday to Me. We had that kind of like Glenn Ford as a doctor and stuff. And like, there's always a doctor and like a mysterious thing going on. So as we move on, is there anything you want to, let's just draw. Oh, we should talk about 4 out of 5 Doctors, the band in the film, which is the local Washington band. I think that they were really good and convincing. Like so much for I thought they were a real band, like good band, like big band.
Right. Yeah, I know. I wanted to, because I was, again, watching it by myself. I looked at the end credits, and because I was like, who's that band? Was that like a real band? And saw the 4. I wanted to look it up and see if they like took off and any, obviously they never took off, but like, I just wanted to see if I could find their music, but I didn't do it because I suck. But I mean, you said they're like very much like the Cars.
Very much so.
That guy's voice.
I love the Cars too. That's a big band I love there too, and stuff like that.
Like I feel like half the they get to play a lot of songs throughout the movie. It's kind of funny how much it cuts back to them singing and stuff.
Half the movie is a party scene, to be honest.
Yes. Yeah.
So I guess we're getting to the plot here. So the initial beginning of the film, we have like a flashback, right? Where it's definitely setting up the stage, and the house mother ends up having what we think is like a abortion or bad birth or stillbirth. And then we move forward and whatnot. And we kind of fast forward to modern times, and the girls are planning this big party, introduced all the characters, and the house mother is going to have none of it. So is there any scenes that really stand out for you? I mean, the prank scene in the beginning is absolutely fucking bonkers.
Right. Yeah. Trying to think. I mean, yeah, her going in and cutting I was gonna say her cutting the waterbed. That kind of made me think of like Silent Night, Deadly Night, when he sees those 2 girls having sex, and then the Mother Superior character. Like that's what she kind of reminds me of a little bit, like slightly. I mean, I think Mother Superior is a lot worse, probably, but she goes in and is like, I guess, whips those people with the belt, and then in this movie she just takes her cane, which I like her cane or whatever you call that thing as like the weapon. I think scary.
It's definitely a nice touch
yeah,
to do the cane for sure, and she definitely has that kind of classic evil motherly kind of figure, like one of the Cuckoo's Nest or anything along those lines. Or like I said, she also, this movie like walks the line of mental illness. Like you get the idea that she wasn't always this bad. And they talk about that, like she's went off the deep end, and she does seem to have like some brain trauma going on and everything as we progress and everything like that.
Yeah, and then so like her doctor, like, what even is he like who is he? Is he like her PCP, her psychiatrist, her gynecologist? Because I mean, he's the one that delivers, cuts the baby out of her at the beginning, right? And then I really don't know who. And then he like follows her throughout the movie. I was like, I feel like I never followed this plot line that closely. So I thought, yeah, because then he's like talking about, oh, she's very unwell and stuff like that. Like it's like Friday Part 7 or something, and it's like, I don't know. So Like, I don't get what he is.
Evil doctor trope, just trying to cover his ass the whole movie.
Right,
He did
like,
I feel like he was performing illegal abortions forever, and like, you know, and that's just like him trying to cover his ass because he knows if this comes out, he's done.
Yeah, which that wasn't even like an abortion though. It was like an experiment that he did, like to impregnate her because she wanted a baby, and then he cuts the baby out, but it's not like he just and then I guess I don't know. It's kind of convoluted.
It is definitely convoluted, but I mean, all films where we have like a secret son living in some secret compartment hidden away from the world's all convoluted. I mean, we're obviously spoiling this, but there's like a big thing in the 80s, right, where we have that kind of thing where like we have deformed like siblings or anything like that, or hidden siblings like Hell Night. The whole thing is that the family's still living in a house, or Just Before Dawn has the twins. What's the Unseen? The Unseen predates this in 1980.
Oh, yeah.
That's a really underrated movie, and I think The Unseen
like
probably shares the most DNA with this one. And Humongous has a bit of that too, where the kid's left on the island, the product of rape, and he's left on the island, and he becomes like some sort of monster that's been eating dogs and shit, kills the people. So I mean, like, there's this infatuation with some sort of like deformed or mentally disturbed, like hidden children. Like, probably goes all the way back to like royalty times, where they're like, well, yeah, this kid's deformed, we'll put him up on top of the castle and leave him there. Or Flowers in the Attic is very similar. So it's just a trope in horror films. And I think in the 80s they were like, let's just introduce this to the slasher genre. This will be fun, right?
Very tasteful.
Very tasteful. I mean, the 80s is all about taste.
Hide the deformities and the disabilities. They're bad.
We got to get rid of them. We just don't want to. They're just ugly. They're just icky. You don't really ever see a good look at this killer. Like, they were like, well, he looks kind of like the Elephant Man. I was like, I don't remember ever seeing him. Like, I do not remember seeing anything about him.
Right. Yeah, no. I mean,
there is an absolute nice touch of him like having the jester mask on, and we have the little play toy in the beginning that like kind of soothes him. I like that little bit. That's a nice little touch, and that plays into the ending, and it plays into probably the best scare in the film, right?
Yeah, that's actually like creepy. Like, the movie would be so much more creepy if you just had whoever walking around with that mask on the entire time. But it's a cool end scare because you're not expecting that. I mean,
yeah. They debated that. They were like, should he wear this the whole time, which would have made him a more memorable killer, which the year 81's filled with them. I mean, like, there's tons of people dressed up in awesome outfits. They're like, if we have him in these other outfits, you don't really see him. And then when he's wearing this at the end, you don't expect him to be in that. So that's why they did the scare. I don't know if it's worth it. It's a great scare, but the idea of putting him in that outfit probably would have made them want to make this more of a franchise film if he's in that the whole time, right?
Right, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, so whenever that like one scene you have where he kill sorry, I'm spoiling everything, but like the doctor, I think it's the doctor, and they're like, she like looks over the railing at dude, and he looks up and he looks like deformed Michael Myers. Is that like is that supposed to be his face? Like, is that really him?
I couldn't really tell. I mean, his hair looks a lot like the character from the Funhouse, just the big hair in the back. But like, besides that, I couldn't really tell his face. Like, they're like, he looks like this. I was like, I can't even see his face.
Yeah, I'm trying to like, I didn't know if that's what I thought. He was wearing a mask there, which I mean, he probably is wearing a mask there, but I wasn't sure if that was supposed to be like just what he actually looks like. And that's like the only scene you really even see of him, I feel like.
The one thing I would dog on this movie a little bit is like the good scene with Jenny is a great kill with the toilet. But all the other kills are either off screen, which is fine. I mean, the director was more aimed at a thriller and probably was pushed to put more of that stuff in there by the production and the film distributor. But some of the kills, the blood is a little off and whatnot. And I think Jenny's scene in the toilet's great, but a couple of the other kills aren't really great. I don't think any of the kills really stand out. And the first kill in the movie was kind of just a foreshadowing to what we were going to get, or more of what we were going to get, with the character who's just wandering through the woods and gets stabbed. It turns out that he was like, I think, a local special effects guy or something, and he had a head mask of himself. So they were just like, well, he's already got the head made. We're just going to kill this guy for no reason. They added that in because at that point there's no real kills and anything like that. So like, that's just like not a great kill, but just a added kill for, I guess, like padding, or just to give the people what they want.
I mean, it's good to get into it, I guess. He's like he's just like a party goer, and it's like, oh dear, there's a killer out there. But yeah, that's pretty bad. I mean, the blood looks like the Italian just red paint blood. And I never really even realized that before, but yeah, it's pretty bad. You get that kill with what's her name, Morgan, and she doesn't even die good. Like she like crosses her eyes and her like small tongue is like, it's like, oh my god. So yeah.
She picks up the Jack in a Box too. After she like witnesses like a murder, she just like runs and she sees the Jack in a Box. She's like, "Oh, just pick it up." And you're just
and
like,
I love scenes like that. She's like looking at it for like the whole time. She's like, like
she's fun
like,
though.
Does anyone do that in real life? Like, do you ever just stand there and like by yourself doing that? But no, she's fun. She's memorable, like you said. She makes the movie memorable because she is, and then that part where. When they're trying to hide the body and then all the people in the party are showing up and she's like, Morgan, go distract them. And she like slowly stands up and just walks away. Like she tells her to hurry up and go distract everybody. And she just like gets up like with just no like ferocity to go.
Oh, she like runs like this and like the dress.
It's like a walk run, like when you cross a road or something.
She also might be the only one that has a nude scene in the film, I think. Am I correct on that?
I think you are, because I think watching it, I was like, and it's a small scene too. Like you barely really see her.
For sure, it's like a side thing. I don't know if the sex scene actually has nudity too. I do want to talk a little bit about the prank.
Yeah,
because the prank is super infamous.
It doesn't even. Oh, see, Jeremy goes Jimmy Johns. That's what's happening there. Okay. Yeah. No, the prank is ridiculous. So I guess they put the cane on an inner tube in this gross pool, and then the whole thing is like, we're gonna make her have to go into the pool and get the cane, but the one girl has a gun, which I never even remembered that scene where it does show her like shooting with her boyfriend or whatever, and
it's such a dangerous prank because basically what they do is they say we put a real bullet in the front so we can show it break something. And then we put blanks in the rest of the gun. That's why when they shoot that, she's like, what the fuck? And she actually thinks it's a real gun. Like, they're going to think that they went so far as to put blanks in the gun in the first place. I'm pretty sure if they just put the gun at her, she'd get in the water. So they do this elaborate prank. And, of course, the old woman has a heart attack after she gets in shit pool. And she dies. So they realize to continue their party, because they don't want to get in trouble, which is, I Know What You Did Last Summer, which if this ever happens in real life and somebody dies by a horrible prank or accident, just tell the truth right away and just get it over with, especially if you did do the prank.
Yeah, as long as you didn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm not doing that. Like, if you put me in that situation to ruin my life because you have a prank and 4 other people's lives or 5 other people's lives, go fuck. You're getting ratted out. So basically, they do this and she dies. And I just want to talk about other 80s pranks, like the one from Slaughter High, the one from Terror Train, the one from Night of the Creeps. Any of the 1980s pranks, Porky's, Revenge of the Nerds, are either sex crimes or burning or just murder. They just are setting people on fire. It's like, it's the equivalent to nowadays the YouTube videos where people are just pickpocketing. Bro, it's a prank. It's like, these are crimes.
Right. Yeah, Terror Train, they have like it looks like a dead person in the bed, and they like put the door.
It is a real dead person. They take a corpse, and they go like, he's gonna have sex with his corpse. It's gonna be hilarious. It's like,
yeah, like that's like traumatizing. And then the burning, it's just like, what even? They have like a skull that they just set on fire. Like that's
with
like
maggots. Where they get it?
Yeah, right. And yeah, exactly. It's insane. And like, nowadays you do any of this stuff, you're in big trouble. Back like in these movies, I mean, I don't know if that, like, back then you probably would be in trouble too, but in the movie world, it's like just a slap on the wrist. And
Final Exam's the best, right? This is like a terrorist act, and they're like, hey, you kids, you better stop it. I literally want to write an 80s book, like a book about 80s movies called Sex Crimes, Pranks of the 80s.
Yeah.
Pranks of the 80s. And it would be great if a lawyer wrote it. Like, just by a lawyer's point of view. Like, this is real crimes. Here.
He can list all the things you'd be charged with if you did this.
For sure. I do want to say about the, of course, the sea pig line. That's a very memorable line. I'm a sea pig.
I'm a sea pig. It's just a big fat guy. The poor guy.
Like we said, the casting, that guy, it's like, hey, you're a fat guy, want to be in a movie? It's like, that part, he has the shit water in his mouth too.
Mm-hmm. And that's his only part. That's all he does. He has to jump. He goes in the pool, and then later on, he's like out there, and everyone sees him, and he's like, "I'm a sea pig." And
He does it twice.
wonder
There's
if that
all
guy
those-
does conventions.
Let's be honest, he probably died. The sea pig is dead. But he'd be like 65, sea pig. I mean, he could have lost weight. He could be a personal trainer. I don't know anything about this guy. But
Yeah, it
that's
depends
the
on
only
the
movie he did.
whatever.
Trajectory of
life-
his life. Yeah, for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
But like, there's a lot of suspense in here, which I get what he was talking about, trying to go for the Hitchcock stuff, because the whole idea is we know what's in the pool, and they're going to play with that the entire time, right? Oh, the lights come on, all that kind of stuff like that. But I do find it hilarious to continue a whole party when somebody's dead. They even carry the suspense with the cops, like, "What you girls got in that dumpster?" You're like the movie has like equal parts, a little bit cheesy, but it all ends up working pretty decently. And I really think what makes this movie memorable is probably the group of girls. I think that they're the best characters. I think they're the best acted. All around, I think it's just kind of a little bit seedy. It's a little bit seedy in terms of the backstory, which a gross kind of deal, which I think makes it a little bit more memorable, but never goes full nasty. It's never quite as nasty as the On Scene or anything like that, or Humongous, where you're like, that's just a little too gross for a lot of mainstream people. I think like people that like the 90s slashers look back on House on Sorority Row and Happy Birthday to Me, and I think they're more approachable than a lot of the other ones that are just more gritty and probably not for like the faint of heart, I guess, nowadays.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like, it's 7 girls, and a lot of movies like this, it's annoying because it's just like 7 girls, but only one girl is kind of the focus. I actually feel like this movie tries to, even like the smallest character out of that, they try to have different personalities where you're not getting them all mixed up, and they feel like they all served a purpose here. So I thought that was pretty cool.
For sure. I do think they all stand out. Stevie's the only one that gets a little ripped off because she dies so soon.
Yeah.
I will say that we should mention that the director wanted to go with a downbeat ending, even in 82, 83, which is a little rare because we always have the final girl fighting back from the Friday 13th movies for the most part, or almost somebody lives in almost all of them. I know Happy Birthday to Me kind of have a twisted ending, and a couple of them do have real twisted endings. Or the possible ending, who will survive but will be worth it kind of deal, like Texas Chainsaw. But for the most part, 80s slashers typically had a surviving girl. He wanted to kind of screw that, and in the original script he had a scene where it ends in a hospital where she supposedly gets killed, and the shot scene, there is a shot ending that was deleted where you see the jester in the pool and the paramedics are all pulling him out. You think it's the jester killed in the pool, but they turn around and it's actually our Catherine, our lead character, which I think would have been a better ending. I think it's more solid, creepy ending. And I think it plays into like the weird kind of flashes of her seeing all her dead friends at points when she's hallucinating. I think that would have been a better ending. Instead, this one just kind of cuts off where it doesn't end badly, but you kind of figure it's going to be badly because like the killer gets knocked down a flight like out of the attic, and then it's like, yo, he's dead. Then he wakes up, and then it rolls the credits. Like, it definitely is a very cut off ending.
It's very abrupt, and it's the type of ending you expect with like a slasher that's going to lead to a franchise. That's like the Michael Myers ending. Like, you always see him with his, or Jason even. Like, they always open their eyes, and it's like, oh, here comes part 10. But yeah, and then like the flashes with like when she's like sedated and seeing all that stuff, it kind of feels like doesn't belong in this movie. So I feel like that would probably make more sense. Like with like, I don't know. I always thought those flashes were weird and kind of goofy, kind of creepy, but like just it's like, what the heck is happening right now type of thing.
I think it fits better with the original ending that he had in mind with the pool. If that would have been there, it would have made a lot more sense. Is there anything else you want to mention about the film, the plot, anything like that?
Do they like because you said like, oh, they put one bullet in there that's real and then shoot that the lamp or whatever. Do they actually like say like, we're putting one bullet in here that's real? Like, do they say that, or is
I feel like they do?
Okay, because I always thought like I've always thought like this doesn't even make any sense. She just like shot the gun and it was like real, and then like she shoots again and it's fake, and so that makes it make more sense. I mean, I guess even if they don't say it, it could be an implied thing, but yeah, that's very dangerous.
Yeah, it's definitely not something that would fly nowadays in a prank. Like, so how would you rate this compared to the remake? I unfortunately was going to watch the remake, but we changed the times. How is the remake? I've actually not seen it.
It's been a while since I've seen it. I should have watched. I think I have. I think I own it like on a crappy DVD or something like that. But it's one I actually used to rewatch quite a bit when I was younger. When it came, I think it came out in like 2009 maybe, and my mom and I always watched it, and I remember enjoying it a good bit. I can't. It's not at all like the original. It's one of those remakes that just takes like kind of the name, and then it's like takes place at a sorority. There's a prank, and that's pretty much it. But the prank isn't with a sorority, the mother. I don't think it's with one of the girls in the sorority, and they accidentally like stab her to death, I think, or something like that. So it's like similar in that, where they think they killed somebody, and then like somebody comes back and is trying to kill them off, and they assume it's her, and she wasn't dead, I believe. But I want to rewatch that too, because I don't remember anything besides those very basic details. But I know I liked it back then.
You know what? Like, I always thought it looked terrible, but like, and most of the time, well, every time I hear somebody talk about the remake, it seems fair. Like, it seems like they like it to, it's good to pretty good. Like, it's not like it's fair to good. It's not bad. Like, I'm thinking like a 6 to a 7 or somewhere around that range. It seems like it sounds like it's not right off to check it out.
I felt like Dave Z or somebody who watched it for the slasher show maybe or something, which I didn't even watch it for that. I didn't think about it, but I feel like they might have said they were like higher on it, and then like at the end there's some reveal that like took them down a bunch, and I can't remember it, so I want to rewatch it for that. But
you know what? A lot of the slasher remakes from that time aren't as bad as people say they are.
No, they're not. They all have that same glossy look and the same like hot actors and the same. They all feel exactly the same. I've been watching a lot recently, like the Silent Night remake, the My Bloody Valentine remake. Trying to think what else. Mother's Day, I guess, kind of.
Mother's Day, I think, is a piece of shit, but that's just well acted,
right.
Just terrible script.
Yeah, it's just like dark for the sake of dark.
It's just unrealistic, but portrays everything. It says, "Here's just what humanity's like. Now watch these people be aliens."
Yeah, yeah. Pretty much.
I actually like the Black Christmas remake, which everybody hates because it's just cheesy fun. It's cheesy fun. Like, is it as original? Absolutely fucking not. But is it just crap? Like entertaining, gory crap? Yeah, it's.
Yeah, I mean, besides, like, everyone complains about the flashback and how ridiculous, the jaundice and stuff like that, how ridiculous that is. Besides all that, like, I think it's just another slasher. It's fun.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
maybe.
So I talk a little bit about films that inspired. As we go on, like there's a lot of sorority house kind of deals going on later on in films. I noticed. So I'm trying to think of a couple, but it seemed like more like just sleepovers. I feel like it kind of also involved with that. But I as far as like 90s slashers, definitely Scream a little bit. I feel like Scream's in there, but I Know What You Did Last Summer almost feels like they're like, yeah, we're just gonna take this.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I told, like, even, I mean, Prom Night kind of that came out before this too, and that's like a kind of similar. You know, the kids are all playing, and then like girl falls out the window, and they're all like, "Okay, we won't tell anybody." And then years down the line, that it comes back to haunt them. But
well, it's kind of weird because The Unseen is a movie that's about a hidden secret too. Like there's incest going on, and they hide it, and then the offspring is like a monster child, and then Prom Night is a hidden secret from the past as well. Those are both like real far away hidden secrets and this one has a hidden secret from the past as well, like a person living in the attic. And like, I feel like they could have delved in deeper and been like, well, every once in a while, a girl would just disappear from the house and no one would know what would happen to her. They could have done a little bit more with that, I think. But you know, there's a hidden secret here, and then there's a kind of a cover up too as well. So it's like, it's a little bit of both, you know. And there's not so much cover up as like the first, like that is almost immediate. Like even I Know What You Did Last Summer is literally like the next year. Like,
right.
So,
true.
I think this one's kind of cool in that aspect where you don't really know who the killer is for a while, and then the reveal is, but you kind of have to assume something weird's going on because you know you have the opening. They could have done it the doctor too. You mean it could have been the doctor, could have been the house mother, or could have been some unseen force that we eventually do have it. Although the doctor is probably the worst villain in the movie, really.
I don't even, like, was he gonna like let the the dude kill her, or was he?
I think
He's like,
so.
"You're the bait." Like, like I don't know.
I don't even know what his MO was.
Yeah, right. Like he's like, I have to stop this because it's gonna get out and people are gonna know this is my fault for some reason, which I don't even actually. I don't. Why would everyone know? Like, why does anyone have to know it's your fault?
But they're gonna know anyways because 7 people are already fucking dead. 8 people are already
Right.
dead. 7, 8 people are already dead.
And that's my thing too. Like the girl. So I'm like, I guess he was gonna have to kill her too.
But how's she
would
gonna
have
cover
just
that
went
up?
and said, "Hey, this doctor's crazy." So
What's she gonna do? Let this killer kill her, and then get rid of this killer and hide the body? Someone's like, "Who killed all these people? What's going on?" Like,
Right.
you're kind of just fucked. Like when shit gets more and more complicated, you're like, I don't know how I'm getting out of this. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore.
yeah, that's like the weakest part of the whole movie. Honestly, I could do without that doctor altogether. But
For sure.
it is what it is.
Do you want to do better then?
Sure.
You just have to name the movie you like better. No explanation needed.
Are these like 82? I probably haven't seen like half
Some of
these.
them. I did a
Go ahead.
mixture.
All right.
Better than these 82 movies. The Thing.
What do I say? Worse than? I
You
guess?
just say which one you like. Say the title, which you like better.
Okay. The Thing is better than.
Friday the 13th, Part 3.
That one is better than this.
Slumber Party Massacre.
This is better than that. Yeah.
Mortuary.
This is better than that.
Alone in the Dark.
I've only seen that once, so I'm gonna go House.
Visiting Hours.
Which one's that? Which movie is that?
The Michael Ironside hospital slasher thing.
Is it like the one that's also called Hospital Massacre? Or is
No.
that a different movie?
That's actually a different movie.
That's X-Ray. It's actually
Yep.
called that. Okay, never mind. I've never seen it, so
Girls Night Out.
I've never seen that.
Slayer.
The House is better than that. That movie's fun though.
Death Screams.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Unhinged.
I am that, but I've never seen that.
I'm trying to give you like a bunch of random slashers for the year. Humongous.
Bunch of softballs. I think I like House better than that. I've
Black
never seen
Room.
that, like Black Room. I don't even know what that is. I've never heard of that one.
And The Forest.
The Forest?
Yeah.
I've never seen that either. Dude, I suck.
No, these are pretty. Some of them are pretty obscure, and a lot of them have a reputation for being crap. So, all right, better than these 80s slashers, which involve hidden children or mentally handicapped children. The Unseen.
I think this is better than that, probably.
Just Before Dawn.
I like Just Before Dawn better than this.
Hell Night.
Hell, I'll go Hell Night better than.
All right, better than these Jester killer movies. Slaughter High.
Oh, Slaughter High I prefer. Better than.
Funny Man.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
You're not the only one, but it's a ridiculous ass movie. It's pretty funny actually. Is there anything you want to plug? Anything else you want to talk about? Any upcoming
That's all
projects?
that's all the Jester movies you had there.
I wasn't digging too deep in that one.
I
I
was
guess we
waiting
could
for,
go
like, a
Cat's
lot.
Eye. Cat's Eye.
Oh yeah.
Little troll jester.
Yeah, I like Cat's Eye.
Where'd he get that hat?
What?
Where'd he get clothes? That little troll in Cat's Eye. Like, I don't understand. Did he make him himself? Is he like, yeah? Is there a whole world of trolls?
Hey, don't worry about it.
Oh,
Don't worry about it.
First time I thought about it, but I'm really worried. Not gonna sleep tonight.
Laying in bed with the covers like.
Now, are you scared of the troll, or are you just wondering about the troll? Both. My cats would even protect me against that troll.
No.
Not even close.
No, they would not.
Is there anything you want to plug?
I mean, I don't have any podcasts anymore besides Slumber Party Massacre podcast. So there's that. That's under the Cut to the Chase feed on all the podcast thingamabobs. And that's pretty much it for right now.
No movie roles?
I mean, you can, go on. Like, I feel like I'm always, like, plugging my stuff. I mean, you could go rent Kuhn off of Screenbox if you want to watch that. Or you can, I think it's back on Amazon to buy physical copies of. It, like, sold out within, like, minutes of going on there when I first went, which was crazy. What else? The Emasculator, you can buy that one. I forget what that guy's. Bruce Longo has copies of that. I forget what his company is, though.
I can link it.
Yeah, do that. Link it. Yeah. That's about it. I'm dropping the ball. I can't think of like where to find any of my movies. I have stuff.
Well, there's
I'll
always
be
Internet
doing.
Movie Database, right?
Yeah. Look. Yeah. Just Google me. I'm just Carly Sonafelt.
World famous.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate you doing this.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, it was fun.
All right. Well, we're out of here.
How do we know she is alive?
What do you think?